So UFC Fight Night headline by Cory Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw just finished up, and man, that main event, I don't know about that decision. I'll have another video coming out talking more about the decision and what's next for Cory after this fight, because despite TJ Dillashaw getting the win via split decision after I suppose a pretty close fight, Cory Sandhagen did look very good in that fight, and I had him winning pretty clearly. The judges clearly saw it otherwise. A lot of all the judges had TJ Dillashaw winning rounds 1 and 3. Now, here's the thing. Dillashaw looked good, and he showed tremendous toughness in there. I mean, he was eating shots, and moving forward, he ate flying knees, spinning back fists, plenty of hard, straight right hands, overhand rights from Cory, liver shots with the left hand. I mean, he ate a lot of shots from Cory in this fight. Cory popped something in his knee with a leg attack. Attacked the inverted triangle. I mean, Cory had so many moments in this fight. Dillashaw, and that goes to say that Dillashaw did what he had to do to weather that entire storm, and even just to make it to a decision was very impressive to me. I did not think he was, when they were announcing the winner of the decision, I didn't think he was going to win, but I was still very impressed with what he did in there, and I was saying, yeah, he's definitely one of the best bantamweights in the world. So what I'm saying here is not a knock on TJ, because he went in there, he looked good, and he did what he had to do. He weathered the storm, showed the toughness, showed his will to compete. He was attacking those low kicks. Didn't appear to affect Cory's leg that much, but regardless, TJ was landing them, and like I said, TJ was doing what he had to do. He was getting to that clinch position from the back that I think the commentators were giving entirely too much credit to that position for. I mean, it was not, he was not doing much damage from that position. He was not taking him down from there. He was not advancing position. He wasn't throwing the hooks in, and he said he couldn't throw the hooks in because of his knee, but the knee was damage inflicted by Cory Sandhagen. It's not like he came in with his knee like that, so it's not really. I heard Alan Jouban in the post-fight recap, giving TJ kind of pretty much a pass, saying, oh, well, he had a bad knee. Well, yeah, he had a bad knee because Cory was attacking that knee, so it's not like he came in the fight with a bad knee. Cory gave him a bad knee, so to me, Cory made it possible for him not being able to do that. That's nothing you can take away from, I should say, that's no credit you can give to TJ, in my opinion. But all in all, he did what he had to do to make it appear as a close fight. But I watched the fight again after it happened, and I even watched I actually watched it twice, so after it happened, so probably 3 times total. And I saw Sandhagen doing a lot of damage, throwing all kinds of different attacks. I mean, he landed 2 different flying knees, 3 nice left hands to the body, plenty of straight rights, plenty of overhand rights, lots of nice combos. And, he hurt him on multiple occasions, nice spinning back fists. And, there were moments in the fight where he was really just piecing him up. And this is why I believe the UFC should have a different scoring system as well. Not all rounds are won equally. If TJ Dillashaw won round 3 and Cory Sandhagen won round 2, those rounds should not have equal bearing on the fight, because Cory Sandhagen did a load of damage in round 2, while it's just like if somebody skates by and barely wins a round without doing much damage, and then the next round someone wins the round by doing a lot of damage, those rounds should not be scored equally. But, that's another conversation for another day. But yeah, Cory Sandhagen, brilliant performance in there. In my opinion, does not lose much stock from this loss. like I said, he looked pretty impressive in there. And I'd love to see him with one of the top bantamweights like Rob Font or someone like that. Yeah, really the only one that comes to mind is Rob Font, or maybe the loser of Sterling Yan would make sense as well. And for Dillashaw, I think they'll probably give him the winner of Yan and Sterling. But yeah, with that being said, it was a great fight regardless of the decision. Like I said, Dillashaw did what he had to do in there to really make it a gritty fight and even last to the decision. I mean, I really think 90% of bantamweights, 99% of bantamweights would have got knocked out in there by those shots that Cory landed. And, TJ took all of them. And, he took all of them and kept coming forward as well and kept throwing shots of his own. And he was doing what he had to do. Like I said, he was getting that clinch position. Like, he was just doing everything he possibly could. And he showed in there that, yeah, if there's any possible way he can win, he's going to find that way, And I like his chances against Yan and Sterling, I like his chances better against Sterling. I think Yan is a tough matchup for anyone in the bantamweight division. But we will see. Dillashaw did look good in there, And then moving on to the co-main event, Kyler Phillips and Raulian Paiva moving up from flyweight into bantamweight, challenging Kyler Phillips. And man, Paiva getting the win. I thought this fight should have been a draw. Kyler Phillips had a dominant first round. I mean, nearly finished him, and it was just completely one-sided. Definitely should have been a 10-8 round. I don't know how you score that a 10-9 round, and that this is another, point on what I was saying about the scoring system, because that one round was even like Raulian Paiva probably did win rounds 2 and 3, but what Kyler Phillips did in that one round was the most significant 5 minutes of the whole fight, so it's like tough because you watch the totality of that 15 minutes and I don't know if you get the feeling that Kyler Phillips lost that fight, but Raulian Paiva did also weather the storm and look great in there, and he showed, he's definitely going to be able to compete with all of the top bantamweights, which is a big thing to say because that's a loaded division. And that also goes to say a lot about the flyweight division as well, because he's moving up from number 12 in the flyweight division, and he just beat number 14 in bantamweight, so that goes to show that skill for skill, flyweight is not that much below bantamweight if they are at all, because I mean, he's going in there the smaller guy too, you can't forget that. But impressive performance from both guys. I think they're both going to be around in this division for a long time to come. And then of course before this fight, what's next for Raulian Paiva? I'd like, he just beat number 14. Who knows? Give him Sean O'Malley. Give him, I don't know, maybe not Sean O'Malley, but give him someone ranked or something, someone good. Let's see what he can do against another top bantamweight. And then Darren Elkins versus Darrick Minner. Man, this was a crazy fight. Darrick Minner starting strong as he typically does, getting a very nice, he went for the triangle at first, pretty much had it. He probably could have finished it from mount if he wanted to, but he transitioned to an armbar, had it extended at one point, and Darren Elkins was able to stack and get out of it. And, Darren Elkins is cut up, he's getting beat up, he's getting, Darrick Minner is looking good. And then before you know it, as Darren Elkins always does, he starts weathering the storm, and before you know it, he's got Darrick Minner in a top crucifix, ground and pounding him, and, he lands a lot of ground and pound from this crucifix position. I mean, the fight could have been stopped. I would have liked to see more elbows to possibly, cut him up and, make it look worse to the referee because he was doing a lot of punches. But regardless, he was beating him badly. And, he ended up finishing the fight, though, from back on the back with the hooks in, ground and pounding from the back. But, vicious ground and pound from Darren Elkins. amazing comeback victory for him. That was just a super entertaining fight to watch. And yeah, Darren Elkins getting it done in his typical fashion that he always likes to do. Yeah, very impressive stuff. And then Miranda Maverick and Maycee Barber, another fight with questionable scoring. Man, Maycee Barber getting the win via split decision, and she definitely won the third round. But I thought Miranda Maverick definitely won the first two, so that was kind of interesting. I did think Miranda Maverick was the clear winner in that one, but Maycee Barber gets it done, and she looked good in the third round. Kind of similar thing to what happened with her against Alexa Grasso. You know, she went in there, lost the first couple rounds, and then started to figure herself out in the third round, started to get her flow, and figure out her ways to win. I'd like to see her in a 5-round fight. Of course, I don't see her main eventing anytime soon, so it's probably not going to happen. But, you know, I think she would do better in a 5-round fight because it looked like she had good cardio, and it looked like it was only the third round where she really started figuring out her flow and starting to really, you know, get the download the data, if you will, of her opponent and start to really figure out what would work for her and what not. Similar thing that happened in her last fight with Alexa Grasso. So, you know, I don't know if she just needs a longer warm up in the back room, or if you know, if that's how long it takes for her to find the weak points in her opponent's game and exploit them. Because yeah, it looks like she's typically done a good job at that, at least in her last 2 fights. But yeah, she gets the job done regardless of if it was controversial or not. And yeah, so she will move on. I mean, they're both ranked in the low rankings of the flyweight division, I believe, so I'm sure she'll move on to fight someone in the top 10 of that division. Oh, she called out Jessica I believe, and Jessica I was more than willing to accept that fight, seemingly, based on what she said on the internet. So who knows, we'll possibly get Maycee Barber and Jessica I next. That would be a nice matchup. Like Barber said, you know, Jessica I is a established name in the sport, even though she's coming off a loss to Jennifer Maia. Yeah, still an established name in the sport, and that'd be a good win for Barber. As for what's next for Miranda Maverick, probably should still get a good opponent, considering she looked good in that fight and probably should have won. So yeah, I don't think she loses much stock from that fight, similarly to Cory Sandhagen after his loss to Dillashaw. I don't think they lose much stock from those losses. And then, of course, the first fight on the main card, Adrian Yanez. I don't know how is the proper way to pronounce it. And he got the TKO victory over Randy Costa. But man, Randy Costa in the first round was piecing him up with that jab, dictating the pace of the fight. But once Adrian Yanez got in his flow and took over, man, his boxing was fucking... Sorry for swearing there. His boxing was crisp, you know. I don't know what the YouTube policy is with swearing and all that, so, you know, I try to avoid it if I can, you know. I don't know if there's children watching, you know, doesn't need to be used. But, yeah, man, his boxing was crisp. Adrian Yanez, his boxing was crisp, and... yeah, once he got his flow and started dictating the pace of the fight, man, he started to take over, finished the fight with a beautiful combination, finishing it with an uppercut. And, yeah, I mean, this guy is good. Another bantamweight. I mean, bantamweight might be the most deeply stacked division in the UFC. It's so stacked. I mean, these guys are unranked, and they both look like killers in there, you know. So I would like to see Adrian Yanez against a ranked fighter. Him and Sean O'Malley would probably be a fun fight, honestly. But you know, I think it's time Sean O'Malley gets a big name as well. So maybe they both get a big name, and if they both get the win, then they can fight each other. But yeah, I think that would be a cool fight. Adrian Yanez is a electric striker, and yeah, I'd like to see him fight a highly ranked opponent. And then so a couple prelim fights. The prelims were actually loaded with great fights. Punahele Soriano getting the loss against Brendan Allen. He looked pretty good in there. You know, just Brendan Allen kept landing those body kicks. He had good good knees from the tie clinch. He was doing good with the hands too, with the combinations. It was clear that Puna had the better power, but ultimately Brendan Allen landed the more significant strikes and ultimately outskilled him in there. But Puna had heart, man. He never gave up, and he was close to knocking him out on multiple occasions, and that's all it took. He wasn't trying to win on the judges' scorecards. He was trying to get that man out of there, which he almost did. But Brendan Allen showed the toughness, man. He ate a couple clean left hands right across the chin and kept moving forward and kept throwing his shots, and they were all landing. And he looked good in there, man. Brendan Allen called out Sean Strickland, who's fighting this Saturday. I think that'd be a good fight, Of course, Brendan Allen lost to Sean Strickland and wants to avenge that loss. And, Brendan Allen looked really good in there against Puna, man. He really did. And Puna looked good despite the loss as well, So great fight all around. I think those two middleweights are going to be contending in the rankings for a while in the future to come, And then, of course, Ian Heinisch and Nassourdine Imavov. Imavov getting the TKO victory. Looking very good in there, man. Ian Heinisch not ranked going into this fight, but of course he was just in the rankings a few months ago, I believe, before he lost to Kelvin Gastelum. So, Imavov definitely should get a top high-level opponent in the middleweight division. Yeah, middleweight. I'd like to see him fight maybe the loser of Sean Strickland, Uriah Hall or something, someone good, because this guy, Imavov, is man, he's an issue. This guy can pose major issues for a lot of middleweights, I think, and I'd like to see him fight someone in that upper echelon of the division just to see where he stacks up, of course, because, man, I think he stacks up pretty well against a lot of those guys, for sure. And then Mickey Gall with the very impressive victory over Jordan Williams. He finished it with a rear naked choke, but he was, succeeding with the hands before that. He landed a couple of nice right hands, and he was landing with power and authority with the hands on Jordan Williams. Hurt him with the hands, and then took his back. I don't know if he I can't remember if he threw the hooks in or not, but regardless, took the back rear naked choke, but not before hurting him on the feet. So very impressive performance from Mickey Gall. And, after hurting him on the feet, not forgetting his roots, not trying to keep the fight standing. Oh, you're hurt? Okay, now I can go and choke you. He's always knows what he's looking for. He's always looking for the submission, but the hands were there too in this one. So pretty impressive performance from Mickey Gall. Definitely he wanted that win after losing to Mike Perry a year ago in a pretty... I think Perry finished him on the ground with ground and pound, full mount, so not the best performance for Mickey Gall in that one. So this is a good win for him. And then Julio Arce getting the TKO victory over Andre Ewell as well. Ewell was protesting the stoppage, but man, his face was getting punched apart, so I think the stoppage was good. Julio Arce moving down to bantamweight from featherweight, I believe, and man, he's going to be an issue in this division as well, man. This division is just loaded with talent, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just crazy how many high-level bantamweights there are. Julio Arce looking good, and they're getting the win over a very tough Andre Ewell. I mean, Ewell is no easy man to beat in that octagon, that's for sure. And Sijara Eubanks getting the brutal TKO over Elise Reed in her UFC debut. I heard John Morgan speaking about Elise Reed, saying that she is a natural atom weight, which is 105 pounds. And of course, Sijara Eubanks moving down from 135 to 125, and they both fight at 125 in this one. So Elise Reed clearly the more undersized woman in this bout, and it showed, man. Eubanks just pretty much destroyed her, manhandled her, and finished her, and showed, this newcomer is nowhere on my level, at least not at 125, So Sijara Eubanks getting the nice W there. And then Hannah Goldie losing to Belbita in a pretty decisive decision. Have nothing bad to say about that decision. That was a good fight, though. Goldie showing the toughness while also getting picked apart in there. I thought there was multiple times she almost got finished, but man, she had the toughness to make that one last all 3 rounds, which was very impressive. But yeah, with that being said, let me know what you guys thought about Cory Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw. What you think should be next for each of those two, if you thought the decision was correct and whatnot. And if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more videos like this one, and thank you very much for watching.